For most of us, there are maybe three things we would get out of our cars for during the thick of a Norwegian winter: a substantial pile of money, a well-heated restaurant, or to rescue a tiny infant or creature who may be in peril. And that's exactly why a Norwegian man pulled over once he spotted a furry little critter he thought had no business in the middle of the road. When he tried returning the animal to its rightful owner, however, a shocking revelation proved he probably should have just stayed in his car. As he did every morning, Jostein Hansen was dropping his kids off at school when he noticed a tiny animal scurrying across a snow-covered road. Curious, the dad pulled over. The dad, of course, knew that small animals and well-traveled highways didn't mix all too well, so with impressive dexterity and speed, he danced through traffic and snagged it before the worst happened. Jostein identified the animal as a hamster. Back at home, his own daughter had one, so he had a fondness for the little rodents. If some kids have lost it, then it will be seen as a disaster, he said, so I took the chance to try to catch it. With the hamster in his hands and thinking still of how sad his own daughter would be were her hamster to go missing, the dad resolved to find the owner. In the meantime, he stashed the hamster in his glove box. As the man with limited resources, Jostein knew he needed a little extra help to see the hamster to her proper home. So he reached out to a Norwegian newspaper, I Tromsø. Assignment editors passed the story on to Sanna Drogset Borstad, who couldn't help but frown when she learned she'd be spending her next few hours looking for a hamster's owner. After all, Pulitzer Prizes, she knew, didn't usually go to those investigating lost Norwegian rodents. Nevertheless, she met up with Jostein Hansen and his rescued hamster. She had no idea what this story would become. Hamster in tow, the two traveled to a pet store affiliated with Animal Protection Norway, an organization dedicated to animal dignity and welfare. If anyone could find the original home of this lost hamster, it was one of the 9,000 people working for the organization. And indeed, the pet store employee did help Jostein and Sanna. In a way. The pet store employee looked over the hamster. Turning the critter over in its hands, she processed the brown, black, and blonde fur, and then she told the duo it wasn't actually a hamster. What Jostein had chased down in the middle of a snowy Norwegian road wasn't actually a pet either. In a way, actually, Jostein had conducted a kidnapping, a rodent napping, if you will. The creature was actually a Norway lemming. Indigenous, of course, to Norway, these furry critters do bear a striking resemblance to those pets we've come to love. But wait, you might be thinking. The creature was playing Frogger in the middle of the road? That's so very lemming, right? I mean, these creatures, after all, have a reputation for chasing each other off cliffs. So Jostein kind of did it a favor saving it from its nature, right? No. Contrary to their behavior in the popular video game series Lemmings, the critters are smart, master burrowers, and they like to go on the move when their homes get overcrowded. They do just fine in nature, no matter the weather. So, back in the pet store, Jostein knew he needed to return the critter to the wild. He and Sanna went back to the road from which the lemming was originally rescued to let her run free in the snow, not in a wheel. Then, in the middle of a dark and dreary day, the duo released the lemming, waving at her as she made her way back home. Those involved couldn't help but laugh. They'd been part of the world's most bizarre mistaken identity case. Sanna may not have won a Pulitzer with her story, but she was smiling by the end of the day. She covered a story that she didn't think she or anyone involved would ever forget. As for Jostein, well, some thought to pile on the eager dad in the aftermath. The guy did pick up a wild animal and put it in his glove box after all. The pet store worker sided with the overambitious rescuer. He did the right thing, the worker said. He saw an animal he thought needed help, and to be fair, that lemming did look a lot like a hamster.